What are you saying, ladies and gents? It is your boy Bucket Sam. We're back in today for another video. Today's video, I'm doing my Game Week 23 Premier League predictions. But before we get into it, please do smash the like button and do subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you haven't already, please do comment down below all of your predictions as well, because there are some absolute corkers of some games coming in. So the first game of the Game Week, I am absolutely buzzing for. The early kickoff, West Ham United hosting Chelsea, and this has got the recipe to be an absolute cracker because West Ham have got out of the relegation zone, and a win and a draw. It's pretty good recent form considering how long it's literally taken them. But if you look at their recent form, only one loss in the last 3 games. It's a big improvement. And Chelsea, with only 1 win in the last 5 games, losing 2 of those 5. It's not been great, let's be honest. And we'll keep waiting for that switch to flip, because you look at those Chelsea signings, you look at the squad, it's great. Like, it is very good. They've invested absolutely heavy. It is crazy the amount of signings. Graham Potter, we're still waiting for him to find out his best 11. But one thing I think that's going to really affect this game is the fact that João Felix is back and he can play. He's eligible to play after his recent ban against Fulham. I think Chelsea are going to win this one. I know it's against what people are thinking, and I know Chelsea haven't been up to the standard, but it's got to click. Surely it's got to click with all those signings. So I'm going to go for a Chelsea 2-0 away win. Next we have got Fulham versus Nottingham Forest, and it still baffles me how well Fulham are doing. Yes, recently they're without a win in the last 3 games with 1 draw and 2 losses, but that 1 draw that came against Chelsea was an absolutely brilliant performance. They thoroughly deserved it, and they're coming against the Forest side, which have pulled away, let's be honest, from the relegation zone. They are unbeaten in the last 5 games with 3 wins and 2 draws. Recently they've been looking really, really solid, and I think they're going to get another draw here. I think it's going to be a real interesting game, proper end-to-end, because Fulham are a great side to watch and Forest are, so I'm going to go for a 1-1. Yep, I know. Not too many goals, but I still think it's going to be great. Next, we've got Leicester versus Tottenham. And Leicester, off the back of that absolutely huge win against Aston Villa. A great comeback. Harry Souttar, by the way, yes, he might have got an own goal, but he was absolutely integral. And he's massive, by the way. Absolutely huge. He must be one of the biggest players to ever play in the Premier League, surely. But yeah, recently they've turned around their form. Unbeaten in the last 2 games. And before that, they've got 3 losses on the bounce. And they're coming up against a Tottenham side off the back of a huge win. Huge win against Manchester City. Let's be honest, no one fully expected, did they? We all said, oh yeah, it's all Spursy and stuff, but no one really believed that they were actually going to get a result out of that, especially with Antonio Conte not in the dugout, but Antonio Conte's back. I think they're going to go on a bit of a resurgence of form here, because I think they can see they're currently sat in 5th place, 1 point behind Newcastle. And Newcastle, let's be honest, haven't been great recently. Yes, they're unbeaten, but they just can't score, really. And they're not scoring enough. And I think this is Tottenham's chance to break into that top 4. And I think Tottenham are going to win here. I'm going to go for a 3-0 away win. Yes, lots of goals in this game. Next, we've got Arsenal versus Brentford. Arsenal still top of the table after that shock result on the weekend. Yes, we can go into that when we talk about Everton, but it was a shock result. No one fully really expected it. And Arsenal will need a win, because as much as I know Man City lost themselves, but they want to really cement themselves at the top of the table, try and pull away, because you don't want to keep relying on others to get results. They just need to get ahead themselves. But they're going up against the Brentford side, unbeaten in the last 5 games, 4 wins in their last 5, and we all remember what happened at the start of last season when Arsenal went to Brentford. It's not an easy ground to go to, and you know the threat that Brentford can cause you. So I think Brentford, this game is going to be a great one. But I do think Arsenal are going to win it, don't I was about to try and set it up as if I was going to say Brentford, but I do think Arsenal are going to win this one. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Arsenal away win. I think it's going to be it's not away. I've just said all of that, and it's not at Brentford. What am I on about? It's at Arsenal. Let me try again. A 2-1 Arsenal win. Ignore everything I've just said. I meant to say it's at the Emirates. Oh my word. It's been a long day. Next we've got Crystal Palace versus Brighton, the big derby, and I absolutely love this. By the way, a really underrated fixture, a really underrated derby. I absolutely love this game. And Crystal Palace and Brighton, both having okay seasons. Crystal Palace without a win in their last 5 games. 2 draws and 3 losses. It's simply not been good enough. They're coming against Brighton side that recently have looked absolutely insane. We all thought when Graham Potter left, oh, what's going to happen to them? They're currently sat in 6th place. 4 wins in the last 5 games. And 3 wins in the last 5 games. Unbeaten in the last 4. Really, really good form. Mitoma is absolutely sensational. I absolutely love the bloke. Such a good, tricky winger. It's great to watch him. He's like an old school winger, isn't he? He just drives at players. Does not care. Doesn't do anything too fancy. He just dribbles with pace. That's the thing. He's a tricky winger because he just shifts his body weight. He's so agile. Really good player. I think it's going to be a great game, but I think it's going to be a draw. I think Crystal Palace can turn around their form here. I'm going to go for 2-2. Lots of goals. Next, we've got Southampton versus Wolves. A bottom of the table clash with Wolves. Yes, 15th. They've turned around their form under Lopetegui. They've got the same amount of points as Bruno Lage did at the end of his, I think it was about 17 games. I think it was something ridiculous like that. And Lopetegui's already matched that. They look so much better, and especially off the back of that huge win against Liverpool last week. They come against Southampton side that are rock bottom of the table with 1 win in the last 5. And we've heard Nathan Jones' recent comments talking about how big he is and how great he is. And I can't see that Southampton team playing for him. There's unrest with the fans. A lot of fans want him out. It's gonna be a really interesting fixture and an interesting time coming forward for this team, because something's not right. I don't understand it. Something's not going right with this team, and with only 1 win in the last 5, it's simply not good enough. You'd expect a big manager bounce, but they haven't seen that, and I think Wolves are going to win here. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Wolves away win. Next, we've got Bournemouth versus Newcastle. Bournemouth as well. Since Gary O'Neill's been made charge, they've only scored 1 goal. 1 goal since he was given the full-time job. It's simply not good enough. They cannot score. They're currently sat 19th in the league with 1 draw in their last 5 games. It's simply not good enough. And I think we all expect Newcastle to get a win here and a clean sheet. Because we talk about Newcastle, they're not scoring themselves. They're with 1 win in the last 5 games. Yes, 4 of those have been draws, but you'd expect a little bit more from Newcastle. And obviously they conceded last week for the first time in what feels like it feels like a decade, doesn't it? Let's be honest. But I do think they're going to go back to winning ways here. I think it's going to be a scrappy 1-0 away win, but I think it's going to be huge. And I looked earlier on Google Maps to see that distance that the Newcastle fans are going to have to travel down to Bournemouth. You've got to rate it, haven't you? Because they've sold out, obviously, but it's great to see. But yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-0 win, a great day for those Newcastle fans. Next, we have got Leeds versus Man United. Yes, again, it feels like deja vu, doesn't it? No, they played earlier on in the week. I said I thought Man United would win this game 2-1, but it was 2-2, and a great game it was. I think Leeds were very unlucky not to get a result out of this, but I don't expect them to go back to Ellen Road and get a result here. I think it was a good game, and you'd expect Ten Hag now to get onto those players and say that was embarrassing performance and step it up. So I think Man United are going to win this one comfortably. I think there's going to be a massive bounce back. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Man United away win. Next, Man City versus Aston Villa. Man City need to bounce back after that recent result, because that result against Tottenham Hotspur was simply not good enough. If they're going on for this title charge, that kind of way of playing is not good enough. I expect to see Kevin De Bruyne back in the side, and I expect to see a proper performance from Man City, an old school performance, because it simply was not good enough. It really wasn't good enough. So I'm going to go for a Man City 2-0 win and Jack Grealish to get on the score sheet. Next, we have got the big derby, the Merseyside derby, and this is such an interesting fixture. You've got Sean Dyche into the hat. Not only that, you've got Liverpool out of form, and I mean seriously out of form. They haven't won in the last 4 games, with 3 of those being losses, and they got absolutely pumped by a Wolves side on the weekend. And with no Van Dijk, I honestly think Everton are going to win this. Honestly, I really do. I think they can go to Anfield and get a good result here. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 Everton win. Yes, I cannot believe I'm saying this. It's absolutely mental. I believe it. And then the final game, obviously, it's a double game week for Arsenal and Man City. I'm going to do a separate video doing my analysis and thoughts on this later in the week. But this is so tasty, isn't it? This is a game. What do people expect? It's an exciting one, and I do believe. Are you ready for this? I'm gonna get close. It's going to be a draw. I'm going to go for 1-1. I think both sides are going to be a little bit tentative when it comes to this game, because it is pressure. It's so much pressure. And a lot of these big games, they don't ever live up to the standards that we hope for. And I do think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. But it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. And that is it for my predictions for this Premier League game week. If you haven't already, please do smash the like button and do subscribe. Comment down below all of your predictions. Thank you for watching. We're pushing towards 3,000 subscribers. We've seen that. Like, honestly, you lot have been absolutely brilliant recently. The views are up, subscribers are up, and it's down to you lot. So thank you. I told you I'll be coming with lots and lots, and I mean lots of content this year. And I told you, and I said all the time, I'm posting packs, I always deliver. But thank you for watching. Lots more Championship predictions, Premier League predictions, and absolutely everything coming your way. But thank you for watching. Look at Sam over and out. Thank you. Goodbye.